We are God.
Hey everyone, Mikey here, and welcome to another build video, where as you can see, I am back in the Cnidarian Defender, this year's summer event ship. Today I am going to be showcasing my budget-friendly science builds, EPG/control on this wonderful ship. So let's take a quick look at the build, shall we? So as you can see, I have gone ahead and done another science lazy boat. Very similar to the Jirok I did way back during the anniversary event. I figured another science lazy boat is the way to go with this ship. Very similar, but also a little bit different. This is a budget-friendly build. That is not saying it is cheap and it is not free, but it is obtainable as I am not using premium items from Lockbox, Lobby, or promo boxes. So for weapons, I'm using the Viridian plasma turrets. I just like these, the way they look. To me, they are the best looking weapons in the game, especially in turret form. And their proc is actually quite good, increased haste when it does work. Because I'm on my science tune, that's why they are re-engineered to crit D ×4, crit D damage. When you're on attack, of course, you're going to go damage ×4, crit D damage. Because this is a science ship using the gravimetric photon, which comes from your Dyson rep, an excellent torpedo. Just be very careful using high yield or concentrate firepower, as this can kill you with splashback damage. Deflector, I'm using the gamma rep one because it has control, drain, and EPG as the mods. The impulse engines using the delta one, again more control, which as you can see is the theme of this build. Using the revolutionary warp core, again it has more control, a little bit of weapon amp, all around a good science warp core. And for the shields, I'm using the temporal defense for a little bit of extra drain, and it's just for something different. Even though I don't have many drain ability, I don't have any drain abilities in all honesty, so yeah. The extra turret, I just threw on the heavy biomolecular because I had it. I only have the 6 Viridian turrets, so I just threw this in here as a placeholder essentially. Devices, you know, the standard Kobayashi Maru, exotic particle flood, reactive armor catalyst, and deuterium surplus. Again, all craftable. These two, especially after doing the press equip mission. Console, of course, always use Lorca's custom fire control because turning down that crit is stupid. And the shield pen is good, and the extra power for weapons, because this is a Dusai, you need all the extra power you can get. For consoles, again, these are all these are all pretty much event consoles. Excuse me. All easily obtainable. One C-Store console, which is the Genesis Seed, which comes from the Clark. Again, this is an excellent science console, probably one of the best ones. Very good console. Of course, using the console that comes off of the ship, the transformation is just too damn good to pass up, and that is what is making the ship so good. Enhanced induction coils. This particular one comes off of the legendary Bird of Prey, but you can also get a similar version off of the Tier 1 Oberth in the Dill store. Again, I'm using this for the extra power. Dusai builds are extremely complex and hard to do because you have to manage your power levels between aux and weapons. So it's always good to have any power boosts you can get your hands on. Tholian Web Spinner Array, an old event console, and probably the best science console in the game. This thing does ridiculous damage, and it boosts your control. Neutronic Eddy Generator from the weather control ship from 2 years ago on Ryza. Again, another meta science console, extremely potent and a lot of damage. I'm using 3 exotic particle focusers. These you get from your fleet research lab holding, so very easily to get. I'm not using the crafted one simply because that is extremely hard to get when crafting and can be very expensive, so I want to keep the costs down a little bit. Using the Fakuri Torment engine, this is a mission reward. That is why I'm using it. It boosts non-hazard damage, so that would be the hazard from the gravimetric torpedo, for example. Plus, it boosts radiation, which this has a fair bit of radiation damage in this build. Akar's Vengeance, another event item, does actually pretty good. Get some good hits off of this. It's again another good console to have if you had access to it and did that event. The passives are very good, gives you a little bit of extra turn, which is always good, especially with this ship. It's not the easiest to pilot, and more weapon power. And then the Dissipating Nanoprobe Assimilator, another event console. Again, the passive for the extra control, plus its clicky does a lot of damage, surprisingly. And when you're fighting certain enemies, you can assimilate ships, and that is always fun to do. Unlike the retrofit torpedo one, whatever that console is called, it's escaping me. I don't think I have it in my inventory. Oh yeah, this. The retrofit assimilator, like, yeah, this is a great console. You can only assimilate one ship with this, so it's not as much fun. Skill tree is my basic skill tree, the same as Augmented Dictator Games, same as a lot of other players, so it's a very general, all-around, really good skill tree. Specializations, of course, is the science build, so temporal, primary, intel, secondary. Traits, personal traits, I am going to admit right off the bat, these are not budget friendly. These are all premium traits. They are expensive, but in all honesty, I just can't. In all honesty, I just don't change them. I'll be honest, it's too much of a pain for me to go through and change these for builds. You can get them all off of the exchange for various prices, from about 20 million to about 30 million for most of them. Yes, Boimler's is going to run you about 100, but if you're going to invest on one premium item in the game, get Boimler's, because this is going to be your cooldown reduction. The only budget one is the particle manipulator. This is when you get to level 15 in your science R&D, must-have for science builds. Now for starship traits, some of them I use on most of my builds, and a few this is a bit different. Because this is a turret build and using scatter volley, I'm using Withering Barrage, which is a must to keep the scatter volley up longer. Carrier wave shield hacking, this is probably one of the best traits that is not attached to a ship that we have ever gotten. Anytime you're using a tractor beam, it knocks the enemy shields offline. This is a fantastic trait. In my opinion, is a must-have on almost any builds, or at the very least, at least one person should be running this in a organized run, because no shields means more damage. Using ETM, again, is to get more scatter volley procs, more torp spread procs, because the gravimetric torpedo works really well under spread because it creates those gravimetric rifts. Leisurely pace, this comes from last year's summer event ship, the Ryzian luxury cruiser. And basically when you're at 25% throttle or less, every 5 seconds you gain a stack of EPG and control. Not a meta trait by any means, but it's a very, very good trait, especially for those who cannot get some of the more premium traits. This is probably the most expensive trait on here, and that is the weaponized exotic particles. This comes off of the Terran Trailblazer. Yes, it's a legendary pack, but considering that you can get those ships individually, that is why I've elected to use it. It's a very, very, very good trait for EPG builds, because every time you activate a firing mode, you get 75 EPG. So 2 firing modes. You got pretty much good uptime on this. It's a very overlooked trait, in my opinion. I've only just started messing around with it, mainly from the recommendations from NeoJet and Sarcasm Detector. So thank you for that, guys. And of course, one of my favorite traits in the game, and that is Synthetic Good Fortune, which comes from the Tier 6 Nova. And every time you activate control, you get a stacking control and crit chance. And yeah, I have... This is very good with all the control abilities on here, / Yukon procs. You know, I have 7 Yukon procs control abilities, so yeah, it's by the end of the match, my control and crit chance is out of control. Space reps, everything's just pretty much the same as every other build. Stations, this is a little bit different from what I normally run. This ship is not really suited for science. I know other people have said it, and I do agree. Miracle Worker and Science do not really mesh well together, but you can do things with it. So basically, you know, jam targeting sensors, scramble sensors, your Yukon procs, narrow sensor bands because I am using energy weapons. It's always good to have a boost. Chemosite, Torp Spread, and of course Scatter Volley. Again, this is a do size, so pretty much you need to have something. For the engineering, it's a little bit different. I'm using power to engines to proc the con officer, which will go with the duty officers very shortly. Warp bubble and eject warp plasma again are the engineering Yukon procs. This is a basic ability. This you get after finishing a mission. And just for something different, I'm using Aceton Beam. It's not good. You will see on the parse it really didn't do much, but I thought, you know, it's better than putting like reverse shield polarity on it, so just thought I'd try something a bit different. The actual science station using tractor beam and tractor beam repulsors, very good Yukon procs, and the repulsors actually give a fair bit of damage. And because this is a science build and a control, a gravity well 1, yes, the range is only 8 instead of 12 because it is only 1, not 3, but it still does the job in an ISE, which we will be going over very shortly. So duty officers, again, trying to keep it a little more affordable. Using Vincent, he came from the Emerald Chain Lock box. Basically, you have a small chance when using fire modes 1 or 2 to get the next higher version. It's very hit or miss how often they proc, but I thought, you know, just slot him in just for shits and giggles. If he procs, great. If not, oh well. Of course, the con hologram, because I'm not using the competitive engines, I need extra speed boosts. So that's why I have emergency power to engines, so I can negate the recharge time for evasive maneuvers. Because speed equals DPS. And I have this guy slotted, and no way to proc him. So, ignore him. Gotta love when loadouts get messed up, eh? I forget who I had instead. But just ignore this guy. I'm using Gragamal. Yes, he is actually fairly expensive, but you grind EC, you can get him. And that turns their repulsors instead of a push, now a pull. So basically you pull them towards you and then they get sucked in by a gravity well. That's why I use them. Of course, the Aftershock gravity well, you get this specific one when you get the Gamma Duty Officer pack when you reach, I think it's level 60 or level 65, so everyone should have this gravimetric science DOF. And then the chance to knock engines offline gravity well. So that's the build. So we'll go to the ISC and then we will go to the parse explanation. So there was the ISE, and here is the parse explanation. As you can see, it was a very good run. Big thank you to our good friend Grumpy Old Nord, who hosted this run on his live stream. If you haven't checked him out already on Twitch, please do. The link to his channel is down below. The Mead Hall is one of the best communities out there, so I hope to see you there one day. And tell him Mikey sent you. Of course, JB was in with us with one of his newer builds, and he kicked ass. One of his best results he's gotten in a very long time. At 718, almost 719k DPS. Very, very well done, JB. Very well done. Of course, we had our tanking protege, Lord Ice. Did very well, 86%, very good, especially considering what I was running, and I only managed to take 7%. That's very good. Well done, Ice. And our very good friend Talon, a hair under 100k DPS. Very good, Tay. You have come a long way. I, of course, was on my Science Tune Hannah, and this build did a very respectable 251k DPS, which, considering this is a very budget-friendly, toned-down science build, is very, very respectable. And again, I want to point out, because of that console that comes with this ship, you look at how much heals I have. And you notice on my build, I don't have any healing abilities. No hazard emitters, no engineering team, no power to struct, or whatever that one's called. So this 351k is strictly from the use of that console. So it is an amazing console to use for multiple build styles. So let's take a quick look at the player analysis. As expected, it's a science build, so pets were number 1 at 78k, with the max 1 hit at 725, which came from the Genesis seed. This is a very temperamental console. This is quite a low 1 hit for me. I have seen this go for more than 1.5 million, but hey, you get what you get. 36k DPS from that console, and it's a C-Store console, is very good. Neutronic Eddy, again, not a big surprise, 29k. It's a free console when you had the ability to get it. Very well worth it. If you don't have the Ryzian weather control ship, and you can afford it when it's in the Muds Market on sale, I highly recommend it if you're going to be going down the route of science builds. And the rest just normal things, anti-time, not even 5k, the warp plasma 2k, and then the photonic escorts, yeah, they're whatever. And then this console that comes with the ship, I cannot say enough good things about. The Cnidarian defense console, 76k, max 1 hit 216, very, very good. Again, this is a free ship, a free console. To get this much DPS out of something that is free, that all you have to do is grind for, is phenomenal. Chain Web only did 26k. I think I did kind of screw up my timing of activating it, so that's on me, but it's still, again, another free console that does amazing damage on a science build. And then, Gravity Well, Akira's Revenge 7k, max 1 hit 145, again, pretty damn good. And then we get into see, Asatom being, 3k, that's actually a little more than I was expecting. Max 1 hit 29k, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Not great, but not bad. And then the plasma turrets on their own, no boost, 6k. So I did get some Scatter Volley 3 procs, did 4200. Scatter Volley 2 only did 31. Scatter Volley 1 from the ETM proc, almost the same. So yeah, they're a little bit all over the place, but the main focus of this build, the damage is going to be from your consoles and your science abilities, not the weapons. So your Tropic Rider did very low. I think this has been shadow nerfed because I haven't seen this doing good damage in a while, but that's just my opinion. It could also just be me. The Gravimetric Photon Torpedo actually did quite shit, in my opinion, in these runs, but Again, that could just be my piloting and positioning, so I'm not going to knock it too much. The Nanoprobe Assimilator only did 1400. Again, because they're Borg, it doesn't really shine. You know, max one hit 56. I've seen this go max one hit over 300 in the past, so pretty much. And then yeah, you see the, where'd it go? The assimilation dot 795. Yeah, so not great, but hey, free is free. And then the one turret, yeah, did absolutely jack shit. So there you have it. That was the builds. And as I said, considering that this is a budget-friendly, semi-affordable build, 250k plus is very respectable, and it most definitely exceeded my expectations. So I cannot recommend getting this ship enough. That, you know, I've already proven that it makes a solid tank. It makes for a good science platform, even though it's not designed for it. So all in all, this is a very, very, very good ship. And plus, you can transform into a giant jellyfish, which, come on now, who doesn't like that? So I hope everyone has enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I must say, I'm having a lot of fun in this ship, and I'm hoping to see a lot more of these in the coming days and weeks as more and more people unlock them. So if you've enjoyed this content, please do all the normal YouTube things, you know, comment, like, subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications. Yes, it's a broken record that we always say it, but truth of the matter is it does help the channel. Also, don't forget to check me out on Twitch. And until the next video, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
We are God.